Indiana football has picked up just about every position in the transfer portal this cycle, except maybe the most important one, the offensive line.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome in. It is a Locked On College crossover of Hoosiers and the Portal Podcast. I'm Jacob Goins of Locked On Hoosiers. He is Brian Smith, host of the Portal Podcast. Thank you so much for making our two shows your first listen or your first watch every single day, as we are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and the nation's #1 sports podcasting network. Today's episode on this Locked On crossover brought to you by FanDuel. The college football playoff is here, and FanDuel is the best place to get into the action all playoffs long. So visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boost every single game day. And Indiana has been very active in the transfer portal, even though they are competing for a national championship coming up in just a week's time. But Brian, there's a position that the Hoosiers have yet to get. They've got a quarterback, they've got running backs, they've got receivers, they've got defensive linemen, they've got safeties, they've got corners, they've got everything except offensive linemen. And that concerns you in a big way, and the Indiana fans have been pretty loud about it too.
It is the mystery of the portal. Every year it's the same thing. No matter what the money is, no matter the circumstance, guys that are buried on the depth chart, 4- and 5-star guys don't transfer. It's a conundrum. I don't know if God could answer that question as to why. They just don't get in the portal. You and I were talking about this before the show, and I'm just going to read off a few of the players here. Like, right now, offensive tackle, obviously, the premier of the offensive line positions.
Which is what Indiana needs next year is offensive tackle, sure.
And, well, here's the thing. Out of like the top 30 programs in college football right before the portal opened, I did my list for everybody. Out of that, like 30 schools, I had 27 as a top 3 need is offensive tackle. So there's the other problem. Supply and demand here is not working in anybody's favor, not just Indiana's. But for whatever it's worth, 24/7 Sports has Carius Kern as the #1 portal tackle. He's going from LSU to Ole Miss. He's from that area of the country. He was a freshman. He played some, but he wasn't very good. If they got him #1, and I don't agree with #1, but he's certainly very talented, that puts it in perspective. Like the older guys that should be next up, like they're just not transferring. Mm-hmm. Lance Hurd's kind of the one exception, former LSU guy there as well. LSU, Tennessee, now transferring to Kentucky. Okay. Those are guys that were elite. Everybody recruited them, and they're already selected. But after that, like, they have Jacarius Peak as #3, North Carolina State guy. And the first thing I said when I saw his name was, who? Like, NC State's offense was okay. It gets mid-level ACC talent. But if he's #3, that puts it in perspective. Mm-hmm. Are you ready for #4? Arkansas's offensive tackle, Marion Harris. That's #4. #5 is Wilkin Formby. Alabama fans could not wait for him to leave. He's #5. Like, and I thought he was a lot like Alabama fans are over the top. We all know that. But like, if that's if that puts it in perspective. And by the way, even though this isn't great, they're all taken. You don't get anything out of this if they're taken. #9 is the first guy that's available. He's very talented. Josiah Thompson played at South Carolina, probably going to stay down south, probably very expensive. One of the main reasons he picked South Carolina is their big NIL budget, but he hasn't been that great, and he's all of a sudden in the portal. I'm guessing they wanted him to take a cut. We'll see. The intriguing guy, and I could see Indiana at least kicking the tires here, is Ty Haywood. He's a kid that was a national recruit last year, signed with the Wolverines. Of course, that whole situation there is unforgettably bad, and I get why he's leaving, but he still hasn't played really. That's like the first guy that I can see they're taking. Like, there just aren't any options. So I'm going to say something that I know from growing up in Indiana, especially those of you who are Bob Knight fans, et cetera, probably won't like this. Unless Indiana just goes out and literally tampers hard and gets somebody else's tackle, it's probably not going to work out next year. I know nobody wants to hear that. Everybody tampers a little bit. I'm talking about this bold-face, go steal somebody.
Well, Brian, you've already got people on the internet claiming Indiana's cheating because they can't figure out how the Hoosiers are winning. They can't figure out how they've gotten all this talent and how they've turned 3 stars into superstars and about to win a national title. So maybe you're just aligning yourself with the trolls on the internet and saying that Indiana's already cheating. So just go do so and get yourself an offensive tackle. That's what I'm hearing right now.
Well, the funny part about Indiana is they just out scheme people and they out execute people. That's just people not liking that their school got their heads kicked in. And I'm looking right at Alabama fans right now more than anybody else. 38-3 states.
Yep.
But at the same time, like, and we'll talk about this in a minute, like Miami fans hate me right now because I already picked Indiana to win. Like, they can't imagine losing. That's fans being fan. Fan is short for fanatic. So it's whatever. I get it. Root for your team. I'm cool with that. But Indiana outcoaches people. They don't have more talent than Miami. They do not. But they get more out of what they have than anybody. And they have the most accurate quarterback in college football. That takes care of a lot of ills. Like, the stat of the year, 8 touchdowns, 5 incompletions in the playoffs. So I'm done with all the cheating. The cheating is Fernando Mendoza plays for Indiana. And the irony, he went to Miami Columbus High School, the same school that Mario Cristobal went to, and he passed on him. So that's the cheating. Cristobal picked the wrong guy. Not that Carson Beck's bad, but he's not.
Right.
Anyway, IU's not cheating. They evaluate and find the right fits for them by a million miles better than anybody else. This is a little bit like Saban when he first went to LSU or when he first went to Bama. Like, his first title at Bama, they had several key players that were 3-star guys that 2019. He took in his first class. And you're like, oh. Now, after that, it was pretty much, okay, it was, 4 or 5 stars. By the way, your recruiting coordinator then, do you know who that was, Jacob?
I do.
What's that guy's name?
It's pretty popular, actually. It's a pretty popular name, in case people didn't know. On the two, which is so crazy because it's 2009, all those years ago. And there he was, just working his way up.
Curt Cignetti was 2007 to 2011 recruiting coordinator for Nick Saban at Alabama. That first class, Cignetti's the one that kind of, like, once they got there and had to piece it together, that was the architect. They almost won it in 2008. I mean, which was ridiculous. They should have won it about 10 times. It's incredible. Cignetti started that, and that 2011 team might be the greatest Bama team they ever had. That was Cignetti's masterpiece. So he just understands evaluations.
Yeah.
If that's a cheat code, then sue him.
When it comes to the offensive line, Brian, before we move on, we're going to talk high school recruiting. Indiana picks up 3 big commits over the weekend. They're starting to talk as well and really, really notice what Indiana is doing on the football field. We'll talk about Indiana blasting Oregon plus getting Miami in the national championship game. But I mean, we're over a week into the transfer portal, and this is it. This is the last 4 or 5 days of the portal cycle. We're not going to see too many guys enter the portal on the offensive line. And I want to remind people what Indiana did this past season, right? From the 24 season coming into the 25 season, picked up 3 P4 guys on the offensive line. You picked up Pat Coogan, your starting center. You picked up a guy, Mikulski, from Ohio State. And you also picked up one from Colorado. You went and picked up several guys in P4 on the offensive line. Now, some of them worked out and some of them didn't, but Indiana's got to go get some dudes, Brian, because you lose your tackles next year. You lose your center next year. You're bringing back a couple of guards, but the only tackle that has legitimate experience is Carter Smith. So the Hoosiers, if they don't pick up somebody in the next several days, they're in trouble.
I have 2 questions. Number one, is there somebody in the works they haven't announced, which is certainly possible because this is the portal. And it's not like recruiting where we get intel. Like, guys finish a visit, sign the paperwork, and nobody knows. It's weird with the portal because we don't have the same access to them.
And it's so quick, too. That's the difference.
Oh,
it's so fast.
And we just report the aftermath. That's just how it works. It is like, even like my buddy Steve Whitfall, who knows about it. There are times he has no idea, and it's announced he doesn't have a clue. And he probably knows as many contacts as anybody in the industry. That aside, I wonder if Indiana, because a lot of teams are doing this, are looking at any JUCO kids, especially with the Diego Pavia rule. You get the extra year back.
Yeah.
Wouldn't shock me. I bet you they've at least kicked the tires on that. And again, no idea who it might be. Some kid from Oklahoma, Mississippi, Texas, whatever. It wouldn't surprise me. But I'm not saying they have to go get 2 offensive tackle starters. But we both know that at some point you're going to have that year where it just doesn't go your way and guys get hurt.
Yeah.
If you don't have a couple of quality pieces behind, even with the great group they have coming back, especially with the additions of portal, you can be sunk if you don't have talent. Like, you're done. Your pass rush against you it's going to cause problems. So Indiana, in my opinion, should be top 5 next year preseason because the skills, talent, and it's about to get better. It sounds like, by the way, hint for those that don't know. But at the same time, they got to get a little more depth there. Because otherwise, I mean, you can get lucky and roll the dice with kids you recruited. It's possible. But I would rather at least have somebody that knows what it's starting, even if it's a JUCO kid. There's something about that playing at the college level. It would make me feel a little better for Indiana's sake.
Indiana's got to go get some offensive linemen in the transfer portal. We'll see where they go, but they're also active in the high school recruiting rankings, picking up 3 names over the weekend, and they're starting to really take notice for what the Hoosiers are doing on the football field. We talk about that and a growing trend for the Hoosiers coming up next on this Locked On Crossover. Today's episode on this Locked On Crossover is brought to you by FanDuel. The college football playoff is here. We're down to 1 game, and FanDuel is giving all customers even more ways to get in on the action every single game day of the playoffs. Because right now, every college football playoff game day, so coming up about a week from today, FanDuel users get a profit boost waiting for them in the app. Here's what I love about it. All right, you get to use the profit boost on the bets that you already feel good about. So if you like Fernando Mendoza in terms of his pass attempts or his completions or his touchdowns, right? Maybe you want to take Roman Hemby on a rushing line or Kalon Black or Elijah Surratt to catch a couple of touchdowns like he has in these past couple of games. You can do all of that with the profit boost. So it's a bet you already like, and then you can go for a bigger payout as well. So you just apply that profit boost to go even bigger and get bigger winnings. And when you win, FanDuel pays out instantly, which is perfect for playoff football. FanDuel is the best way to get into all the action all playoff long. So visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boost every single game day. All right, welcome back into this Locked On Crossover. He is Brian Smith, host of the Portal Podcast on our Locked On Podcast Network. I'm Jacob Goins, host of Locked On Hoosiers. Make sure you subscribe to both of our YouTube channels. You follow us on your audio podcasting platforms because nobody's busier than Brian right now trying to cover the transfer portal, and we're pretty darn busy here in Bloomington too, trying to keep up with what the Hoosiers are doing in the portal. But you also have high school recruiting. Brian, I've been trying to tell people, don't forget about that. Don't forget about recruiting the high school kids because Indiana's been pretty vocal and it's been pretty evident that they still want to bring in a large cycle of high school kids. And we saw a good 2026 class, top 25, top 30, depending on where you look. And now they're working in 2027 with 3 kids from over the weekend, all of them 3 stars, 1 from Ohio, 2 from Kentucky. We'll talk about those guys in particular, in those states in particular, before we get to what they're saying as well. But Indiana's off to a nice start in the class of 2027, and they're going outside of the Hoosier State to do it.
Monsana Torbert Jr., athlete, quarterback, DB, receiver, do-it-all guy from Cincinnati. That sounds like somebody that Cignetti can do something with. He's really dynamic. Garyon Hobbs, a kid that Notre Dame and Clemson, a whole bunch of teams wanted. Athlete out of Louisville, could play running back if he wanted to, but probably going to be a safety or a nickel. The Jahai Brown, a receiver, same school, Christian Academy in Louisville, is Hobbs, another really dynamic athlete. These are not kids that Indiana normally gets, let alone gets them in January of their junior years.
Yeah.
This is the windfall. I was wondering if it was going to happen. Like the junior days are coming up for everybody. So for them to get these kids to commit already is a sign that like Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan, Illinois, everybody in the Midwest, plus Kentucky and Louisville are going to be like, oh, now we have to worry about Indiana, not just in the portal, but as well in the prep ranks. They've kind of entered that realm. This is a very interesting trend. And my biggest question, kind of like in the last segment we were talking about, if Indiana gets these guys, that's good, but it's the conduit, the absolute ultimate. Can you steal elite D-line and O-linemen from Ohio State, Notre Dame? That's the difference. Like I'll take 1 D-lineman over 2 receivers at the same level every day because there's so few of them. That's the next step. But getting 3 guys like that, just boom, 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 that is also rare. So again, they're not stealing these kids from Murray State. These are Big Ten SEC level players. That's a great start for Cignetti and the Hoosiers.
Let me ask you a question before we talk about some of the comments from those commits and just others in particular who are watching Indiana go on this insane tear through the college football playoffs. Are you seeing NIL evaluations or just pay for recruits? I mean, we call it NIL evaluations. They're just paying for commitments and signees at this point. But are you seeing the value of a high school recruit go up because of the massive portal money that we're seeing? I mean, you got quarterbacks making $4 or $5 million. You've got offensive linemen making $1 or $2 million. You got a good corner making $1 million, a receiver asking for $3 or $4 million. I mean, are you seeing the carryover from the portal money going into the high school rankings where they're like, oh, I'm a 4 or 5 star receiver, and if Cam Coleman can make that much, then I should make that much. Are you seeing that happen in the high school recruiting because of the transfer portal right now?
You're partially correct. What they're asking is one thing. What they're getting is polar opposite. I had a conversation with a parent / coach the other night. His kid's first team all state. I won't name where, the player, all that.
Yeah.
He's 6'5", 305, looks the part, plays at a high level and all that. He's got like one P4 offer that he can take right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's because everybody knows with the lack of patience, like a scale of 10, if 10's high for patience for college football fans, right now it's -12. Because they want to win it, like especially linemen, they're getting completely hosed.
Yeah.
Because everybody they want now, because they're afraid of getting fired. So it's a little more position specific, like you oversign linemen that at certain spot, like D tackle, they're more like that spot. If you have a pulse at D tackle, because there's so few, that's the one spot, because there's only so many 6'3", 300-pound guys that can move. Okay.
Yeah.
But pretty much everything else, I've had so many conversations with people. We'll get back to you once the cycle ends. Like if you haven't signed yet, there's still a couple of weeks you can take visits, and some kids will. But they're trying to fill needs with guys that have already been through college weight training and all that. So it's not only not getting the money, it's maybe not even getting the scholarship. It's like there's no middle ground.
That's so
They only want the elite kid out of high school. So it's awkward. It's ironic too, because Indiana's taken a bunch of those 3-star kids and killed it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the guys they inherited, Sig and them, that they didn't even recruit, they've done stuff with. It's ironic. And then, of course, the kids from JMU on top of it. But most schools, especially like SEC Big Ten, the top echelon, they're being super picky. Look at Oregon's class, like their average rank.
Yeah.
Like it's ironic because Indiana just stomped them, but like they have the highest rank. If you're not a certain level, they're just going portal.
Their average rank is high, but they're going, I guess in simple terms, they're going quality over quantity at this point.
That's kind of the theme. And Oregon's got the money to do that too.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. Indiana, obviously, with a few checks they've had written by one booster in particular and some other people. I know he tried to, I'm sure you saw his message on X, but let's be honest. We know who's donating the most here. I'm not stupid.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah. Cuban has helped, and he should. He's a billionaire. But the point is still the same. If you ain't got deep pockets to get those kids, you got to take a lot of chances in the portal. I had a conversation with somebody else today. We're talking about a different school. They had a couple kids on campus. He's like, do you think those kids are going to be able to work out? And I'm like, you got to be careful what you ask for. The portal can be really good or really bad. I just always point to the same thing. Look at Florida State's 23 season, all portal. Look at their 24 season, all portal. Polar opposite.
Yeah.
You get the wrong kids that come into your locker room, you're going into the toilet. And Florida State is still getting flushed right now. Matter of fact, they're in a lot of trouble. So you got to be careful. That's why it's still amazing what Indiana has done with the portal, because they hit with guys I'm like, who? All the time. Like that Toledo, James Matt, like,
yep.
It's amazing. I have never seen anything like this at the college basketball or football level. And I've been following both for about 40 years.
Yeah, it's magical what Indiana is up to. And again, I think it's so fascinating that they're putting effort and time and money into the portal, but also in high school recruiting. And so much so that these guys, the ones that committed this past weekend, 2 from Kentucky, 1 from Ohio. And the kid from Ohio said, yeah, I watched Indiana do what they did against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. And that was enough for me to commit to the Hoosiers. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Are you like, think about that for a second. You had a kid from Ohio, a 3-star athlete that has every chance to be better than that by the time he gets to his freshman year of college, who's from Cincinnati, which is hour and a half from Columbus. He watched Indiana on the national stage, put it on Ohio State, and said, that's where I want to go. That's the place I want to be. That's a kid who held offers from the Big Ten and the SEC, Brian. He said, yep, I want to go to Bloomington. That is a statement for Curt Cignetti.
That is the ultimate statement, because they can literally just print that out and hand it to other kids that come to visit the Indiana University campus. And hey, this kid could have went to X, Y, and Z, but not only did he pick us, he picked us early because of what we're doing on the field.
It's awesome.
I mean, you can just smile at that point because it's just true. Yep. Like they didn't beat Oregon the other night. They blitzkrieged. My dad even called. I was driving when the game was going on because I'm in the middle of moving, and he's like, "You know what the score is?" I said, "No." I was going to wait and watch the guy. I wouldn't even taking the call because I wanted to watch the whole thing. So we're up 35-7. I said, "Okay, well, I don't need to watch it."
Yeah.
Obviously, I just caught the end of it for the entertainment value. But like, Oregon's really good, and they disassembled them. So
recruits take notice of that.
yeah,
They do.
If they beat Northwestern by that score, it's whatever. It's freaking Oregon.
Yep.
So the only other team to beat Oregon in the last 2 seasons is Ohio State. And Indiana just beat them by 30 or whatever it was. I mean, that's really impressive.
Good company to be in for the Indiana Hoosiers, getting active in the transfer portal, active on the recruiting trail. But now they got to get active in Miami. They take on the Hurricanes in their home stadium in the national championship game. We talk about that coming up next. Today's episode on this Locked On College crossover is brought to you by Wayfair. The new year is here, and it's the perfect time to reset your routine and refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, and you might as well love how it looks and feels, right? That's why you should turn to Wayfair. It's a one-stop shop for getting your home back on track. From bedding and mattresses to storage solutions for every room, Wayfair makes it easy to start the year fresh. Wayfair has everything you need for a full home refresh all in one place. Whether you're updating your living room, organizing your space, or upgrading your work from home setup, Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for your style and budget. If you need that new outdoor patio set, if you need a new dining room table to sit at, and maybe some new bar stools, whatever the case may be, Wayfair has got you covered. Get organized, refreshed, and get back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. All right, final segment on this Locked On crossover of Hoosiers and the portal. We appreciate you being here, making this your go-to spot for all things transfer portal and recruiting with Brian, and then all things Hoosiers with myself. And we've talked about Indiana just absolutely beating down Oregon in the college football playoff semifinal. And Brian, I want to get your thoughts on the matchup versus Miami. I'm sure you and I will talk again between now and a week from now when the Hoosiers and the Canes do battle in Miami's home stadium, a couple of miles away from where the Mendozas grew up, which is just fascinating. The fact that the Mendoza dad played with Mario Cristobal back in the day, just all the storylines here are just remarkable. But on paper, what stands out to you about the matchup between Indiana and Miami? Again, we're a week away, so we won't go super deep, full-on predictions and things, but just what stands out to you about this matchup on paper, at least?
I'm going to do it from a parallel standpoint. Both teams have veteran quarterbacks that can really make it happen. Let's take Carson Beck for a starting point. That final drive against Ole Miss, he's going to be repped by Miami fans as the guy. Here's the irony. First play of that drive, he underthrew it, should have been picked.
Yep.
Near the end of the drive, Sontarian Perkins had the ball go right through his hands. That just shows you in sport in general how you can go from goat to hero in 2 seconds. Ole Miss let him off the hook not once, but twice on the same drive. Underthrown pass where the DB was right there, never turned around, and then right through your hands.
Mm-hmm.
He makes big mistakes sometimes. Indiana generally this year has made teams pay when that happens. They've got to do that again. He's good, but he's not perfect. Secondarily, and I'm not wishing for this, but not one, but two of Miami's corners were banged up in that game.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say this. I talk about this all the time on my podcast, Locked On Seminoles, everywhere else. There is no such thing as a college or pro football coach that hands in an injury sheet that is accurate. They all do the same thing. They lie, and they lie. Mario Cristobal is infamous anyway. Let's see who trots out on the field for Miami. And no offense to them, like everybody's going to struggle with Mendoza. They play a lot of zone, and they're really good at it. But the kid that came in, I ain't going to name his name, but that last touchdown for Ole Miss, they ran cover three on that play. He took a guy to play man, and the guy just walked into the end zone. Like, if he's starting, that game is not going to be close.
And they have a kid who got ejected too. Don't forget that.
That's what
too.
I mean. Like, it's not Miami's fault, but injuries happen. And it's the same thing that happened last year. Like Ohio State, Notre Dame game, both those teams were a shell of their former selves because it's just such a long season. Miami needs both of those corners back. If they are not ready to fire on all cylinders, that's not going to work out. You can't have guys that aren't ready. They didn't get first team reps all year long playing a corner because you can't help those guys. tackle and corner, you're on an island. Either you've got the goods or you don't. It's not a talent thing. It's just experience. I worry about that for Miami. But if they got their normal guys, their DBs are good. That'll be an incredible matchup. We'll see what happens.
And you know, people want to talk about the Miami defensive front, which is phenomenal. It is very, very talented, and it gets after the quarterback. But Brian, here's the thing. This is, and I already can hear Miami people talking about this for the next week that, oh, Fernando Mendoza's not ready for that. That offensive line is not ready for that. This isn't the first good defensive line the Hoosiers have played this year. They played Iowa, who was good. They played Illinois, who's solid. They played Penn State, who's really good. They played Oregon twice, who's really good. They played Ohio State. They played Alabama. They have played several defensive lines that are just as talented as Miami. So I don't think Indiana should have major concern. They're good, and you still have to prepare for them, and you still have to play your best football game. But this isn't going to be a shock like it was when Indiana played Notre Dame last year, where it was just overwhelming. That's just not going to happen in the national title game, Brian. I just refuse to believe it.
The only thing that I can think here is, like, in football, one play can transcend a game. Indiana can't have a missed stunt pickup or something like that where Ruben gets loose. Like, he's as dangerous a player as there is in college football. There's no question. Great guy. But at the same time, I don't know what the deal is. Again, going back to the injury thing, they had 1 sack against Ole Miss. Now, I know, Trinidad's a freak. I'm not.
Oh, yeah, he played a great game, but
I'm not putting Trinidad in the same category. But Indiana can get the ball out quick too. Mendoza's, well, he's not Trinidad. Not trying to say he is. If Ruben or any of those guys are just out of gas because they're banged up, and they will completely bold-face lie on the injury report. They will not be on it. If Ruben comes to practice in a body cast, he will not be on the injury report. But the point is still the same. I don't know if they've got a lot of gas left in the tank because they played so many reps. Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain, if they're ready to go, they could possibly win because they can get a big play or something like that that changes the game. But without that, Mendoza is, again, the stat of the year. It's ridiculous. 8 TDs, 5 incompletions in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He kills zone. Alabama, while they have problems up front, like they're not great against the run, their secondary is really good. He obliterated it just because he's just more accurate. Why would I think that a very similar style of defense that Miami runs, they run a cover defense because we can rush 4 and get home. It's very generic NFL because they have NFL level talent. Yeah. But zone does not work against NFL level quarterbacks. You've got to be able to play bump, man coverage. And again, their corners are banged up. And I'm sure they'll mix up their coverage a little more. You got to take chances against Mendoza because he'll pick you apart. They know that. But if their corners are banged up, it's going to be a long day for their secondary. We won't know anything even after the game. Mario will lie to his grave about every injury. It's just the way coaches are. But when I saw their DBs who they had at the end of the game out there, I'm like, this ain't going to work in the next game.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons that Ole Miss came back. They shredded them. They went right at them and destroyed them. So let's see who plays.
We'll see who plays. We'll see how they play and who comes out on top between Indiana and Miami in the national championship game. We'll continue talking about it as the week goes on. And a week from today is the big game down in Florida. He is Brian Smith, host of the Portal Podcast. I'm Jacob Goins of Locked On Hoosiers. We appreciate you being here and, again, supporting our shows in whatever way that you do. We are back tomorrow for a normal episode. So until then, stay safe, and we will talk to you later.